This is Samuel motherfucking Jackson, and y'all need to be listening to the best podcast in the world, Office Baked, with DJ GWK and Mackenzie Miles.
We were doing a show at Club Exit. It was 1997. And right after the show, you know, I had Angel, myself, John. We were all getting in this cab, and I'm like, well, 90% of the people that are in, you know, up in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, are basically Latin, Spanish, Cuban, of Cuban descent. Yes.
Okay, now I remember.
So, so I tell the cab driver to take us to a authentic Cuban restaurant. He's like, okay, no problem. So he drops us off. We go in, and this is like pre-Chicago J. So like I couldn't read Spanish worth shit. So I'm going by the pictures. Thank God this menu had pictures. So I just point to the thing that looked like a banana. Turns out that's plátanos, which is basically fried bananas with a sugary caramelized topping. So I ordered dessert for her.
I want this.
Exactly.
Right here.
Exactly. I knew what that was, what I was putting in my body. So the other two guys, basically, you know, I had a giant fuck you because Jay already saw what he wanted and was pictured. They're still deciding. And I'm like, well, while they're deciding, can you bring me a cup of coffee? Guy's like, okay. So the waiter comes back and he's got... So the waiter says okay, and he comes back with basically what could be described as a shot glass full of coffee. So I'm thinking this motherfucker's, you know, fucking with me.
Oh hell no! Like this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, I'm skinny and everything, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, this is the joke. You know, look at the skinny boy ordering coffee at like 5 a.m. He don't need this type shit. Like he can't hold his own. So I'm looking at him, and I can't have him, you know, fucking with me, because we just left a gangster concert. We were on stage.
Well, you're in the ghetto.
Yeah, we're in the straight hood. So I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, I said a whole cup of coffee. I am a grown man. I don't need this little tiny sippy cup of fucking coffee. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, didn't I just say it? Are you sure? Well, come to find out, that's the only English this gentleman spoke. Is it good, and are you sure? Those are the only two freaking phrases he spoke English. But I thought he was still fucking with me. Are you sure?
Because he obviously could understand you.
Yeah, but he can't speak.
Somewhat.
Yeah. So this guy goes back to the fucking to the dining area. Now, mind you, I need to, I guess, tell a bit of information about Angel. Angel is of Latin descent, spoke fluent Spanish, and basically already knew what was going on, so I'm not in on this, what turns out to be a joke yet. So the waiter is back in the dining room and he's talking shit, and all I hear is gringo and café, and I'm like, you know, so I'm like, what the fuck did this motherfucker say? So he comes out now and only can be described as a fucking Campbell's soup bowl. Like, this thing is huge, and it's got like a little handle on it. Like, when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they bring you the broth, yeah, picture that, just with a handle on it. So he looks at me and goes, this good? This good? Yeah, it's good. He's still standing there. And that's when I realized that he wants me to taste it.
He's like this. He's like, this motherfucker's so fucking dumb. Just give him a fucking bowl of coffee. Like,
I mean, maybe that's all the bowl, like the cups they have of that size. Maybe that's the only, you know, cups they had.
They probably didn't even like have any other cups. They just straight up gave you a fucking bowl.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're just like.
So he kept saying, "This good, this good," and so finally I pick up this bowl and I put it to my lips. And you ever like watch cartoons and like when someone eats something extremely hot and their eyes just like immediately get dilated? This is exactly what happened. that coffee hit my lips and hit my tongue, and I tasted the strongest coffee I have ever tasted in my life. Now, mind you, I did not know that's what, Colombians are gangster. Like, we got the Spaniards or Mexicans, they're down with their tequila. And you've got, the Spaniards, they love their Dom Perignon. And I guess the Colombians are down with their coffee. I didn't know about Juan Valdez and all this bullshit at the time. So, next thing you know, he's still standing there. He goes, "Is it good?" And now I can't be a punk because I just told this motherfucker to take back this tiny little fucking sippy cup and bring me a cup of coffee. So now I'm chugging this shit. The whole thing. I literally have never been on speed, crack, any of that shit. But if I could describe the after effects, I literally was so wired and everything was interesting to me, but I had nothing to do. So I'm just sitting there fucking jittery at the restaurant.
Is it bad that I want to try it?
If we go to New York again or up in the Poconos, I will take you to that exact restaurant and you will get a bowl of coffee. Because it's only a block away from Club Exit.
And if that dude is still there, I bet he never forgot you. So you're going to walk in there and he's going to be like, oh. God.
So I chug it, okay? So he leaves. He's now back in the kitchen and he's like, "Ambulenso, ambulenso." And I'm like, who's fucking dying? This motherfucker thinks like my heart's gonna stop. Now, mind you, my heart was palpitating. Like, I felt it through my fucking shirt. Like, this was some real life scary shit. Okay? I've had those instances twice. My first example of edibles in New York City. Oh, wow. And my first experience with crack coffee in New York City.
You just do dumb shit in New York City, apparently.
So, we then go to the hotel. It is 5 a.m. We're catching the train back to Newark to go back to the Poconos. So, we go to the hotel. And like I said, it's, 5 a.m. And we're getting up at 10 to take the train to Newark, which then is where we park to basically go back to the Poconos. So, at the hotel, everybody else is going to bed. It is literally 3 king-size beds in one suite, and each king-size bed had a big TV at the dresser or at the foot of the bed. That day, I sat on the...
Did you have a damn, what's those called? The suites?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a suite. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and with the remote like this and just clicking and watching every single infomercial. I saw more of Billy Mays than his fucking mom does at Christmas. And I think Billy Mays was hooked on that Colombian coffee. Because when he ran out there, "Billy Mays here, you wouldn't believe it, but I found this rag that cleans up a bunch of shit."
No, he just snorts the straight coffee beans. Fucking grinds them up.
Oh my God.
And then right after he snorts the line of the coffee beans, "Billy Mays here."
So they get up at 10 and they look over across the room and I'm still in the same position. Dilated eyes, staring at the freaking TV, flipping through the channels, and they're like, "Homie." And I go, "Yeah." "You ain't moved for 5 fucking hours." And I was like, well, I was trying to think of something to do, but we in Queens, New York, and I am so white I'm clear, it was probably not the best idea to go outside. So I watched every channel at once.
Have a great day.
You too.
Because this was back in the day when picture-in-picture was a new additive, so the hotel advertised that it had picture-in-picture. So I had 9 things going at once and they were all infomercials.
Was every single one of them a different Billy Mays infomercial?
Yes. And going back to my original story, I read a news article and I think it was in 100 West Virginia, that the volunteer fire chief, he's been doing this since 2008, okay? Their fire chief has been amazing, won awards for like his courage and bravery and saving people, and I commend dude. And so we're gonna loop back around to my no squatters allowed, rant, because someone out of the blue, he had this job since 2008, and like dedicates his life, runs into burning houses and everything to save people, and is a fire chief and never had a complaint. Someone out of the blue goes and sends letters to everyone in the town. That's a lot of fucking stamps and writing nonetheless. But decides to call the news, the radio stations, all this, to inform them that in...
Sick of this shit.
To inform them that in 1996, he was charged with a felony.
Okay.
So, but the point that this letter was making, again, squatters, he's won awards, he's, succeeded. He's had this job for almost 20 years and never had a problem. But they were like, oh, if you have a felony, you can't serve on any police, fire, public service type mentality. So I have one thing to say. Is that motherfucker that decided to go and write those letters, call that newspaper, call that TV crew, and inform them of something that may or may not have happened in 1996, are you guys going to go and step up and help save all the people from the fires, since you're trying to destroy him and take away his job? Like, because now the dude...
Well, then how the hell did he get the job in the first place
well,
if he has a
and that's
supposed
the thing.
felony?
He was up front. He was up front with the the volunteer fireplace. He's like, look, man, I got this record. I really want to, try and be a productive member of society and help my community and pick up the pieces and blah, blah, blah. So, thank God, the fire hall and some lawyers are working with him, because I guess that law that this person is pushing and saying that he couldn't do, like, at least some people are rallying with him for him to keep his job.
Man, just leave dude alone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody's got a past. Nobody is perfect.
For something that happened like 20 years before he got the job.
Well, I'm saying, everybody's got a past. Nobody's perfect. And we can't sit here and harp on the past. We can only make decisions that will make the future better. And even if you are a squatter, that's not a permanent thing either. You can change that and be someone that goes after your own goals or your own thing. But, like,
Squatters.
I don't know how people get joy out of just tearing people down like that. And, like, that's
because
like,
they're miserable themselves. They gotta make everyone else miserable.
But wouldn't it be irony if their fucking house caught on fire and then they call, and because that fire chief didn't have a job, there wasn't enough people to come and put that fire out?
Yeah.
Like, that's some shit.
That would be some shit.
Like, they'd be like, 911, I need a fire truck out here. And, Jay doesn't have his costume, so he can't go be a fire truck. So, they're like, well, we're sorry, but there's multiple, emergency calls out. So we are on hold for when a fire truck can get to you. And then they realize that it's because of them that they're limited on staff. Like,
I don't think somebody like that would even, think that much into it. They would probably just be like, well, this is some bullshit. Like,
yeah, like you're supposed to be here. And one, it's a volunteer. This guy has had no complaints, won awards, has done things for his community, trying to rebuild his reputation. You look at all these celebrities. Like, that's his Oprah. Like, look at celebrities that have done inappropriate things, and then they just go on Oprah and be like, hey, I'm sorry. and everything disappears. It doesn't matter what they did. As long as you go on Oprah and say, hey, I'm sorry, it's okay. You killed 9 kittens and, stabbed a baby in the tooth. It's okay as long as you say sorry on Oprah. But, this guy was like, hey, I don't have the hookup to get on Oprah. So I'm going to actually change my life. And I'm going to give back to the community that I was a criminal in over 20 years ago. Like, I admire dude. Like, I don't know the dude's name. Like I said, it was a news article. It was on the front page of the paper. And I don't get the paper. I just happened to see it when I was driving and whatnot.
When you were driving?
Yeah, when you drive right by here, by Price Cutter, they have the, newspaper machine. You can buy a paper.
You saw that when you were driving by fucking Price Cutter?
Yeah. I purposely slowed down because I was blasting my music. I gotta show off. As you're creeping, they think probably a drive-by is about to happen. I'm going 1 mile an hour.
You ain't right.
No, I ain't. So, on behalf of myself, I feel bad for dude, and I feel like everybody has a past, everybody has made mistakes, nobody's fucking perfect. He's out there trying to give back to his community, trying to volunteer. This ain't even a paid job as a cop, a paid job as a firefighter. But he deserves our applause and, a chance. And whoever's out there trying to bring him down, fuck you, no squatters allowed. And that'll be our episode today. Make sure you get your Colombian coffee and make sure your local volunteer fire department is staffed up because squatters are bitching.